Hello, everyone. I am back once again, and happy 2025. Yes, it's been literally been 10 years of 2015, which is crazy, but still. Anyway, today is going to be very different. I did post on a community post. I will be doing top 10 of the best kaiju figures of 2024. So, yeah. I'm going to be doing that today, and then I'll, of course, finish the rest of the other stuff. Now, some ground rules before we move on to the honorable mentions and then everyone else. This is my personal list, so, yeah. This is my opinion, so it's my list, my opinion. But if you have your own list, list it down in the description, well, not in the description, in the comments section below. And, yeah, that's really about it. I'm not really going to be basing it off of anything. However, some of these figures will be in the top 10 best figures of 2024, which will be in around, January 10. That's the best I'll do. So, yeah. Anyway, rules aside, let's go over honorable mentions. First off, to the left of me is the Super 7 Godzilla -1. I love that figure, don't get me wrong. I think they got the sculpt right. I think they got the price, obviously. But there are some flaws with him. I do feel like the paint is very basic. It's very disappointing. I wish they could have just added more than just the black plastic and the poop brown color. And I wish they could have added more emphasis on his scar on his face. That's what I wished. And I do think at times there is a bit of QC issues, like the shoulder parts of the sculpt kind of chipping away as soon as you move it, or the tail just popping off. And yeah, that's really it. So yeah, really good figure, just has a few flaws. Next up, the Kong from Kong Skull Island from Hiya Toys. Overall, I think this Kong figure is definitely, in my opinion, the best one I own, until, of course, people start getting the GXK figures. And in my opinion, those ones look so much better than this one. But what do I think of this one? It's pretty good. He has a lot of accessories, such as, like, the alternate hands, the tree branch. But I do feel that, I think the main thing that's really holding him back is definitely the sculpt. Not saying the sculpt is bad, I just feel it's just way too inaccurate. It's very inaccurate to the movie, and he looks very chubby. I'll actually bring him to show what I mean. He's a very chubby figure, and it kind of sucks in that regard. And in terms of articulation, I kind of wish there was more, which is one thing I really love about the Monster Arts version, the articulation. But I do really think this one is a good figure. I like the tree branch, although maybe it would have been cool if he had the boat propeller, because he had that longer than the tree branch, not tree branch, the tree bat, but still, it's not a bad figure. And then the next couple of figures at the back are the Playmates Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire, Kong with Beast Glove, Drowned Viper, and One Eye. So let's move with Kong. Kong, I think, the reason why Kong is here is he's just, not only just because of the custom paint I did, but I do think that, well, again, no bias, I do think the sculpt is really good. It just needed more paint. I love the sculpted fur. It actually does look like fur. It doesn't look like very soft fur, almost looking like skin, like the original figure. I love the heft of this guy, and I really love the Beast Glove, even though it's a bit inaccurate to how it was in the movie. So, and let's move on to another one, One Eye. One Eye and Drowned Viper are mainly here because, they're Playmates figures, but I will admit, I do really like these figures. They're very interesting. They're not like, it's very interesting to see the NPC characters get action figures. So yeah, this one eye. I like the fact it's a brand new sculpt. There's some new articulation choices I like there's more articulation at the diaphragm. There's more head articulation compared to Kong and Scar King, so that makes it a lot better than both of them. And overall, it's really nice, and I really love the bone accessory. But I think the best among the Playmates figures is this John Viper. It's just such a very cool figure, and I feel like this is what the War Bat should have been. There's so much articulation here. It's very imposing, and it's very, very sick. Awesome. And then moving forward, we have the rest of them, which I'm going to go over really quickly. Ignore that cup there. I had to actually fix a few figures. These are the Super 7 Space G Trendmasters, or poster version. The Super 7 Meltdown Godzilla, and the 2 Movie Monster series, the Godzilla Odo Island version, and Godzilla from Godzilla -1. So yeah, overall, I really like those two -1 figures. I really enjoy them, but I don't really collect that much Movie Monster series. I do like the sculpt on them. I do think -1 might be the best Movie Monster series I own. Godzillasaurus is good, but I do wish there was more paint, and I do wish the eyes were a little bit better. And with -1, the the poster radiated version, I think he's just pretty okay. I love the sculpt on him. I love the silhouette. He's not in a fixed stance. I just don't know how to really feel about him. And as for the Meltdown, now as for the Super 7s, Space G, the novelty of him is what makes him really cool. Obviously, I feel like he's a bit too limiting from the articulation at the tail to the articulation of the body. It's just a bit too limiting. There's so many limitations. It's kind of disappointing. And I do wish he came with a beam effect or some form of crystal accessory. But I do really like it. It gives it's a very unique figure. And Meltdown Goji, I really like that Meltdown Godzilla. I don't mind, okay, how do I say this? I like the Comic-Con Explosion Meltdown Godzilla from Monster Arts, and of course what Super 7 did later on. But this is how I imagine Meltdown Godzilla. So I love the sculpting. I love the paintwork. I like the mismatched colors, and usually I would have a big issue with that, but in this case, it's more appropriate as he's in Meltdown form. And overall, I really, really just love this figure's silhouette. It's very cool. I love the alternate head. That's, like, for me, the appropriate use of using an alternate head. If it's very different enough, instead of an opening jaw, then do it. Because this is the alternate head he has, and that's the other alternate head, which is really good. That's how you use alternate heads, instead of, oh, it's just his jaw opening or something. Is it just the character's jaw opening or something, which is really stupid. But yeah, I just love the sculpt. I love the paintwork. And I think Super 7 really outdone this year. All right, enough of that. Let's move on to the top 5. Sorry, not top 10, top 5. Okay, so for number 5, we have the Godzilla King of the Monsters Gravity Beam Ghidorah from Haya Toys. Now, overall, do I think this figure is great? Yeah, it very much is. There's a lot of things to like about this figure. Everything from the painting, which in my opinion looks so much better than the original, since it's a lot more golden, which is, for me, the ideal version of Ghidorah. He's golden, not the weird colors like he is on the original. Another thing, too, I really like about it is the sculpting. It's very accurate to the movie. Give me a moment. It's very accurate to the movie, and unlike Monster Arts, and I know it's really tiring to bring up Monster Arts in these discussions, he actually comes with accessories. So, which already makes it worth way more than Monster Arts. So why is he number 5 then? Well, for starters, I don't like this guy's articulation. It's very limiting. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some good parts here, like the necks, the wings, and everything. But it either boils down to two things. One, it's too limiting, which really sucks if you want to make some cool poses like Ghidorah's next wanting to strangle Godzilla. Or it's so incredibly fragile. And it's because of these little ball wings. The ball wings, I think, the ball joints on the wings. I don't know what you call it, but it's really annoying to me. And this figure feels more like it's meant for display than it is for play. You have all these cool things I love about it, all like the detail and everything. The sculpt work is amazing, and the articulation is not bad, but I do wish at the same time there was more. And there was more, there's one, and I do wish that they improve the wings, because I do not understand why they had to do that. Then, oh wait, they wanted to do it because of the whole wing walk position, which in my opinion I don't really care for. So hope they improve that with a 2.0 where he has bendy wire wings. But overall, it's a great figure. It's an awesome display piece, but that's what it is. It's a display piece, not meant for play. But even with those negatives aside, it's probably the best we're ever gonna get of this Ghidorah. It's probably the best, and that's all I gotta say. It's just the best we're ever gonna get of this version of Ghidorah, and that's fine. It's a great figure. So yeah, number 5. Okay, so for number 4, we have the Super 7 Godzilla vs. Destroyer Ultimates Destroya. Alright, cringy stuff aside, this figure is just impressive. It's just impressive, that's all I gotta say. Everything from the sculpt, the articulation, the paint apps, and most of the figure is amazing. And I will say this, it's a nice alternative compared to the original Monster Arts, or the special color version. And it's a nice alternative, it's very cheap. So already has more points. So, and in my opinion, it's a lot better than Ghidorah in terms of just playability. That's one thing too. Now, of course, some minor things. He is a bit sharp. He has cut me in a few places. But I feel like some parts here are still a bit, at least need to be worked on. That being the overuse of gloss, which is so egregious, and the teeth paint, which in my opinion look horrible. They look nothing. They look really bad, and they look more like whitening strips than actual teeth. So there's that. But overall, it's a great figure, and I heard it's actually getting a reissue. So once that is around, definitely get it, because it has got to be the best in terms of the Super 7 lineup. It's the best articulated among the Godzilla figures. Yeah, it's a bit gappy, but it's but at least it's a compromise from it not being a brick. And there's just there's a good amount of paintwork and sculpt, and he's very imposing. He's very imposing. And unlike most Godzillas from the Super 7 lineup, I feel like with Destroya being towering over other versions of Godzilla is fine, considering, how massive this guy was. So yeah, definitely worth it. And yeah, that's it. That's number 4. Kicking off the top 3, we have the Hiya Toys Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire, Energized Godzilla. Now this guy, I think, is probably the best among the Godzilla 2019 repaints. I still think, though, the regular 2019, base 2019, is sort of the best. But in terms of, forms of that 2019 repaint, and not just base forms like 2021 version 2 or pre-evolved, I do, and just, counting the forms, I do feel that this is the best figure, or best one of the repaints. From its very nicely painted very nicely painted, like detail, like just everything around here, like the body, the head, to even just the translucent effect. To me, it's definitely what Burning Godzilla should have been, which is more, less like the less of the base sculpt, and I wish they could have done something like this figure where it was the whole figure was just translucent, and there is a nice translucent effect here that works so well. And unlike Burning, I feel like he works under any light condition in a sense. And it makes also a little bit of sense too, because, you know, at least Energize was shown in the movie in broad daylight. So there's that. My only gripes is the articulation is a bit limiting, but it's, I don't know, maybe a little better than the others. And you can argue it's a bit pointless and looks nothing like the promos, but then again, those promos are like highly edited. It's gonna look obviously different than the actual final product, and overall, I really like the final product. It's very nicely well done. It's very nicely well sculpted. It's very nicely well painted, and overall, it's a very good figure. Definitely would recommend among the other variants. But yeah, that's number 3. Kicking off the final 2 finalists, we have the SH Monster Arts Godzilla 1972. Now, this guy is definitely the best among the SH Monster Arts Showa Godzillas. So why is he number 2? Well, it's a long story. Long story short, I broke his hand because the pegs are just way too tight. And yeah, I had to fix it. And if you're wondering how I fixed it, my dad helped me with it. He cut a coat hanger, like a metal coat hanger, and then trimmed it down and kind of drilled a socket to put the coat hanger in. So yeah, that's why he's a bit lower. But it's not only just that. I do feel the price makes it a little hard to swallow. I mean, this is what, $100, $120 for when I got him. Yeah, I don't know if he's worth that, but I do really love this guy in terms of the articulation. It's definitely probably the most posable Showa Godzilla I have in my collection, and probably one of the most posable monster arts I have besides Final Wars. But it's just again, the QC is a bit off. You have other articulation choices that make no sense, like his left arm or his left bicep not wanting to go more than his right for some reason. And it's a shame too, because it feels like it's more worth its purchase. You have a lot more things here. It's very accurate. It's like 99% accurate. The only thing that's inaccurate are the comically large teeth. But overall, it's very nicely well sculpted. It's not a reuse. It's not a repaint. It's a brand new thing, and it's awesome. It's just a shame that the QC kind of holds it down a bit. But yeah, overall, definitely the best Showa Godzilla. Probably one of the better Showa Godzillas I own, and probably like my 3rd favorite monster arts I own. If it wasn't for the QC and the price, I feel like he could have been so much higher. But yeah, number 2. Now, to finally wrap up this top 5, and probably the most horrendous top 5 I've ever done, we have the Godzilla 2014 Muto figure from Haya Toys. If you've seen reviews of this gal, do I really need to explain why this figure is so good? Do I need to explain? The sculpt of this thing is immaculate. Very, very accurate from what I can tell. I don't even think there's any flaws with it. The articulation is amazing. It doesn't feel like it could break. It doesn't feel like anything. It doesn't feel like it's very fragile. It doesn't feel like it could pop. Any joints could pop off. It's good on that part. And even better, she scales very nicely with other Godzilla figures, which is awesome. It's not only just because this is the only female Muto figure and that's the reason why she's also number one. It's just the articulation on this thing is amazing. The painting, the sculpt, it's awesome. And for the price, it's impressive. And I'm going to bring back Monster Arts. It really shows why, why they're technically, as of now, they're taking the lead of Godzilla action figures more than both Monster Arts or Super 7. They're really listening to us, and yeah, that's all I gotta say. They're actually doing really well, and this Muto shows us that. They're actually willing to do the obscure kaiju that Bandai, for the last 11 years, as of now, isn't willing to make. So yeah, overall, it's a great figure. If you can find it, definitely get it. It's the best among the figures. Definitely best among the figures so far of this list, and definitely one of the best kaiju figures I've ever owned that isn't Godzilla. It's very awesome. All right, yeah, that's it. That wraps up the list. Yeah, that's all I really want to say is just thank you for watching this video. I completely wing this. If you see me stutter and whatnot, that's because there is no script. I did not write a script or anything. All I did was write pathetic little notes on the notes app on my phone and just wrote away on what I wanted to say, on what's good and what I liked and what I didn't like about these figures. The only thing I'm gonna do is the top 5 and then Bloody Winter, which by the way, that thing is, don't worry, that video is still coming. Sorry if it's taking so long. It's just so brutal to edit. It's so painful to edit the sounds and the voice clips. I haven't even added music yet, so yeah, all I gotta say is it's coming along nicely, but it's just taking super long. So yeah, there's that. So anyways, yeah, I will see you all next time. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and share this video with your friends, your family. Doesn't matter, just share this video. I really hope we can get to at most 700 or so. My goal before the end of the year is at most get 100, well, at least 1,000 subscribers. So if we can make that goal, a lot of stuff will happen. Maybe I'll do a video or a Q&A or something like that. So until then, I will see you guys next time. No, not the hand. Bye-bye.